Alright, let's talk about Let's Talk. Every year, Bell Canada holds an event called Let's Talk. It's supposed to be about raising awareness of mental health issues, and it's also supposed to be a fundraiser for mental health initiatives in Canada. I appreciate the effort. I think that it's absolutely important to remove the stigma about mental health and do so by continuing conversations about mental illness and mental health and just basically raising understanding of the nature of mental illness and the state of mental health in the world and in Canada in particular. But I don't think that this is a purely altruistic attitude by Bell. I don't think that the actions that they're taking are simply for the reason that they state they are. Basically, under Bell's scheme is that whenever you retweet a hashtag or send a text message on the Bell network using a specific keyword, they'll donate a certain amount of money to mental health charities and other research. But they could be doing that donation without the retweeting, without all the rigmarole, all of the tricks. This is a marketing opportunity for them. They're not doing this in a genuine way. This is a cynical way of going about the project. If it were a purely altruistic action, they would be just quietly, silently even, donating these funds to mental health initiatives. They would be starting mental health initiatives of their own and not branding it with their own particular corporate logo. This would be incredibly useful if it were just an initiative about raising awareness of mental health issues, or just a matter of raising funds for mental health initiatives, but it's under Bell's banner. And yes, Bell has great reach. They are able to get this message out and start this conversation, facilitate this conversation effectively because of their advertising reach, but it's not being done so in a genuine way. What's more, Bell is somewhat hypocritical in this. They don't do particularly well for the mental health of their employees. They don't really allow for mental health issues to be handled in a healthy way in their organization. I know some people who've worked for Bell who have suffered mental health issues, and they were basically punished for taking time off in order to deal with their mental health issues. And for that matter, it's not really built into the corporate structure of that organization. It's not really set out in such a way as to allow for reduced workloads or for, greater family time or any of the other things that can help with mental health issues. And this speaks to a bigger issue as well, where the cause of a lot of the mental health issues that we experience on a daily basis, whether it be depression or anxiety or anxious depression or really any of those other related things, a lot of it has to do with the working world that we exist in. There are great pressures on the human individual in the society. We have to, whether we want to or not, work jobs and make money just to be able to survive, just to be able to pay for food and feed our families and take care of things in this world. And that's not really great for us. We're not really cut out for that level of effort. On an evolutionary basis, we're not really we're not really used to that. This is an aberration. This is an abnormality. It's no wonder that we're quite as mentally ill as we are. I don't really even consider this to be mental illness. This is a condition, an economic condition of our age. We're not really good at this sort of thing, and it shows. Depression is a manifestation of this dysfunction. It's the mind trying to protect itself, trying to slow you down, trying to get you out of this unhealthy way of living. But since there's economic pressures preventing you from slowing down and getting out of it, well, I guess you're stuck with it. The general discourse and the treatment plans for most mental illness that are commonly treated for have to do with the individual. It's about treating a chemical imbalance or some sort of psychological dysfunction. And the intent is to get people functional again so that they can get back to work, go back to the daily grind. But if it's that daily grind that's causing the issue, causing the dysfunction that you're having, no amount of drugs, no amount of therapy is going to get you back to the point of being able to be happy in this scenario. It's not really devised for happiness. It's not meant to work for human beings. We're being enslaved, basically, to this economic system that requires of us much more than we can reasonably exert. Bell's motivations here are pretty selfish. They have a lot of employees, thousands upon thousands, and many of their work hours are being lost to mental health issues per year. As such, the motivation behind supporting mental health initiatives isn't just for the good of society. They're not simply trying to get everyone to be healthier, be happier, but they're trying to reduce their lost labor hours to mental health issues, trying to wedge their employees into being able to work the hours that they're being required to work and not have to deal with this burden of mental health. If we really want to treat mental illness and depression and anxiety and those other sorts of things, we need a revamp to the way that we do society. We need a more integrated social life with our work life. Yes, work needs to be done, but it doesn't need to be done in this way. It doesn't need to be coerced by economic pressures and such that you will go homeless, you will go hungry if you do not commit to a 40-hour work week. We need to live in a society where we're socially integrated, where we're not isolated and alienated from one another and from our culture and from our work itself. We need to live in a world that we feel at home in, where it's not a depressing world to be in. Yes, starting this conversation is an important first step. We need to be more forthright and more open about our mental health and be able to discuss it frankly with one another. Being able to admit that, yeah, I feel pretty crappy most of the time. That's a big first step. Just being able to talk with people and not be considered a wimp, not be considered a loser, and those things that I've been called over my life about while I've been depressed and people just haven't understood. Being able to get over that, that's a big first step. Being allowed and afforded the leeway to be able to just be depressed and feel like crap and not be judged for it. That's a big first step, but we need to go further. We need to change the world in such a way that that depression, that anxiety isn't quite so easy to fall into. Anyway, I do these videos daily, and if you appreciate my content, I'd appreciate you continuing to watch. So subscribe to the video, like it, share it with your friends, and I'll see you tomorrow. Libel.